Hello there, my name is Abby and I'd like to welcome you to the University of Kent Virtual Open Day. This is your opportunity to find out everything you need to know about studying here in Kent. Over the next 45 minutes we'll be chatting to undergraduates and staff, as well as hearing from our student reporters who will be giving you an insight into student life, accommodation and much more. Now if you have any questions, write them in the comments and we'll ask as many as possible live to our guests. At the end of the stream there will be breakout rooms for more course-specific questions as well. Well, let's jump in and get started. I'm joined by John Stebbing, a recruitment officer here at the university. Thank you very much for your time, John. Now, what can students expect when they study here at the University of Kent?
Yeah, sure thing. So obviously everybody will arrive at university with their own kind of set of expectations, but I think one of the universal kind of experiences that you have is a really warm, really welcoming community here at Kent. So we've got quite a large student body, about 16,500 students or so, based here in Canterbury alone. But within that, there's just so many, diverse kinds of people, all kinds of backgrounds, all kinds of walks of life that are coming together here at the university to study the different courses. So you can expect, a great community, great teaching as well also. So
and a huge part of that diverse community are international students as well. So what should they be thinking about if they're watching this now, thinking what they need to know in particular? What would your advice be?
Yeah, so again, I think kind of linking to what I just said, the consideration of what kind of community it is that you're joining. So we estimate about 25% of our students here and tend to be from outside the UK. So actually, as an international student joining us here, you are joining a really thriving and really warm international community. And with that, there is a great deal of support laid on for those international students as well. Whether that's support from our international recruitment team for your journey through the application process until you arrive here, right the way down to student networks for internationals, particular events that are laid on and groups you can join as well.
And what's life like here in Kent in particular? If you're moving to the south of England, what could you expect?
Yeah, sure. So I'm actually a northerner by birth, so I grew up in Sheffield in South Yorkshire, so coming from quite a big city to Canterbury, which is a bit of a smaller city compared to, say, Sheffield or London or something like that. For me, I found it really nice. It's a nice pace of life. It's not quite as busy, not quite as bustling as other parts of the UK. Lots of lovely green rural space around us as well, both here on campus and down in the city. And as a former history student myself, the heritage here in Canterbury is wonderful as well. The oldest cathedral in the UK, cobbled streets, medieval city, it's great.
Lots to experience in the town for sure, in the city, sorry. And societies on campus as well. There's a wide range. I think you were telling me around more than 200?
Yep.
So what can sort of students expect society-wise?
Yeah, society-wise, hopefully something for everybody. So, as I say, over 200 different sports teams, societies, clubs to join. That can be anything from, political societies, obviously very active right now with the election coming up. Also things to do with religion, personal identity, activism, volunteering, and just hobby social groups as well. So anything from the Hogwarts Society to salsa dancing to rock climbing, tabletop role-playing games, whatever it might be. And if there's something that you want that isn't there, you can start your own society as well, it's worth saying.
Amazing. It's a huge part of feeling like you've got a home from home and actually settling, especially as if it is your first time away from home. So what's that experience like as a former student yourself? And I suppose we can bring in here what the student support's like for that too, because it is a huge thing to move away from home for the first time. Yeah,
absolutely. It's a question I get asked really frequently when I'm out talking to people in schools and colleges, for example. They say, is it hard to meet people? Is it hard to make friends at university? I'd say in my experience, I think going to university is probably the single easiest social transition you'll make, because it's not like you're just kind of stepping out on your own or like joining a new school halfway through the year. Everybody knows each other already, but rather you're moving to a campus or onto a course where there's literally thousands of your peers, thousands of people roughly your age. They're all there for the same reason. You've got lots of free time as well, all its activities laid on, so tons and tons of opportunity. And with things like student support, something else really worth considering. That is there to help you. So the university, again, isn't just throwing you in at the deep end, but rather they're there to support you. You've got a big organisation behind you. They can lay on academic support, help with learning how to do essays, how to do maths and stats, that kind of stuff. Or if it's support for things like mental health, emotional well-being, that's laid on as well. Physical support for anyone with a learning difficulty too, so you can still get extra time in exams. You can still get extra business technology to help you. So a friend of mine got a free laptop, for example, so we didn't have to handwrite notes. So a really, really well-developed system of support available, and a really kind of strong duty of care that we have to our students.
And we've talked a lot about the Canterbury campus where we are now, but what about the Medway campus as well? That's a huge part of the university as well, and it's actually closer to London.
Yeah, so the Medway campus is about halfway between Canterbury and London, so about 45 minutes up the road in the Rochester, Chatham sort of area. So that's where we have some of our other specific courses, so things like pharmacy, for example, things like social work based there. So slightly smaller physically, but still plays a really big part of our experience as a student body. So the campuses are quite closely linked. There's a free shuttle bus service that runs between the two, for example, and regardless of which campus you're on, Medway or Canterbury, you are fully entitled to use the facilities at both. So if you want to take a trip up to Medway or vice versa, you can absolutely do that. And again, students there are are able to be part of communities on both sites as well. But yeah, really, really good opportunity to maybe go a bit further afield as well, maybe take modules at the other campuses too. That's an option available to you also.
Definitely. That's something I did. I studied 3 years at the Medway campus, but I took a module here in Canterbury and used both of the campuses and all the facilities as well. So really important, especially that free shuttle bus as well, where you can be working on the shuttle bus as well, rather than driving, which is always handy. And just lastly, both campuses, this is a huge part of student life, is the accommodation. So what's it like here, and what was it like when you were a student?
Yeah, so I lived on campus in my first year. It's worth saying that all first-year students, foundation year students, get guaranteed on-campus accommodation. So I lived in Parkwood Flats, out in the sort of the student village part of our Canterbury campus here. There's a different formats of accommodation available around campus, though it's worth saying it's not just kind of one format, but hopefully there's something to fit everybody's needs or everyone's kind of preferences, price points as well. So there's some mostly self-catered accommodation, but there's some part-catered too. So some of your meals can be provided by the university and help maybe take the pressure off yourself if you're not used to cooking for yourself. There's a lot of ensuite accommodation available too, but there are some shared bathroom facilities also for certain accommodations. So just depends on what you're looking for. Some like flats, some like houses, a bit of everything really.
Okay, and I think we're going to hear a bit more about accommodation now to our student reporters. They've been checking out the accommodation so that you can know what to expect while you're studying and living here at the University of Kent.
Hey guys, I'm Alex, and today I'm joined by Elise, and today we're going to be discussing all things accommodation at the University of Kent. So Elise, you lived at Tyler Court, which is a Canterbury accommodation during your first year.
Yeah.
Why don't you tell us what that was like?
It was really nice. It was like 10 people on one floor. We shared one kitchen, but we had our own bathrooms. Double beds, very spacious, very clean, organized. It was kind of like it looked like a new build, but I don't think it was, but it was really nice.
A lot of the accommodation is actually very close to where you'll be going to your classes, and also very close to the library, which is in the center of the campus. So it's very convenient. You've cut down on travel time, travel expenses as well. So if you're somebody who wants that kind of convenient option, you don't want to wake up too early to go to your classes, then that's probably a good idea.
Especially for the 9 a.m.s.
Especially for the 9 a.m.s. There are actually quite a few places on the Canterbury campus that are catered accommodation.
Rutherford and Keynes.
Yeah.
So if you're working long hours or, study very hard or not quite Gordon Ramsay in the kitchen, there's food available for you.
During my first and second years, I also lived on campus. I lived in Rutherford and in Parkwood, and it's pretty easy. All of the things you need are fairly close by. Things like the laundry stations. There are 2 co-ops on campus, so if you need any food, you can get there. Or you can get the bus, and you can pretty easily get into town. So everything's pretty easy. But this year, I've actually been living on the Medway campus at Pier Keys accommodation. So that was quite nice. It's kind of, I feel like it's a more independent living space. Similarly, there's a lot of close by supermarkets to both the accommodation and the campus. You've got Tesco's right next to the accommodation. You've got Lidl and Aldi. So it's pretty nice, and the rooms were great, very clean. It was en suite, everything you could ask for really. During your second and third years, you actually lived off campus. What was it kind of like finding a place to stay in Canterbury?
It wasn't that difficult, to be honest. I had 5 other friends in my second year, and then I had 4 other friends, same friends, but one left. So we had the same person throughout, the same landlord. Pretty easy to find it. We had good rooms, good space. It was close to campus. Go close to like food markets and stuff like that. So yeah.
Well, that was the inside scoop on all things accommodation at the University of Kent. And if you join us, we look forward to seeing you during the next academic year.
Well, thank you to our student reporters for checking out the all-important accommodation now. But now we're going to move on to talk about finance and scholarships. So, Jonathan, what finance and scholarship options are there for students? What can they expect?
Sure. So for UK students, for the large majority of people, their finance will be covered by their student loans, basically. So their tuition fee loan, their living cost loan. So that is where most people will finance the large majority of their education. But it is worth noting that there are other more specific awards available. So there are scholarships for students to do with music, for example, music performance, things to do with sports, or certain forms of academic achievement as well. So these aren't necessarily going to be scholarships that will fund your entire education, but a few little measures that can maybe help take the edge off of some of the kind of costs of university as well.
And talking about taking the edge off, of course, in a cost of living crisis at the minute. We've seen inflation figures come out today, but prices are still increasing. How can students be helped with the cost of living pressure?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, Kent has, taken measures to try and, soften the blow of those cost of living issues that we're having in terms of, so there are things like low-cost meal deals available around campus. There are, no library fees anymore, for example, for late returns, that kind of stuff. But, we fully appreciate as well that, students are feeling that cost of living crisis that we're going through. So we'd want to reassure everybody that there are support services available, but also just people that you can chat to about that stuff as well. There are financial advisors, for example, available for students. There's a kind of welfare service available through not just the university, but the Students' Union itself too. So it's not that, you're going to be turfed out the first second that you miss rental payment for your accommodation, but rather there are people you can chat to, and it is a supportive and a communicative environment that you're in for that.
Comes back to that student support we were discussing earlier. What are the finance and scholarship options like for those international students?
Yeah, sure. So for an international student, they won't be able to benefit from kind of the UK government tuition fee loans and living cost loans like a UK student would. However, there are therefore slightly more options available when it comes to things like scholarships. Again, it might not necessarily cover the entire cost of an undergraduate degree. If we were talking about postgraduate, that would be a slightly different story. But there are specific international scholarships available for overseas students as well. There might be some targeted at specific nations or just any kind of general international student to do with particular courses or departments at the university as well. So I'd really recommend, if people want to find out a bit more about that, I won't be able to obviously list every single one that we have right now, but we have a really fantastic scholarships finder on our website. So if you just go to kent.ac.uk/scholarships, there's a whole ton of information there online about that.
And that'll be super important for the international people we have actually joined. We have people from Morocco, Italy, Switzerland, Malaysia, Nigeria, Pakistan, Uganda. Exciting stuff. Really important. Those international student questions will be helping them for sure. What support, let's focus a bit more on that support for students with finance. Do they get someone they can particularly talk to, or is there somewhere they could go now if they're watching and thinking, I want to know a bit more about the financial support I would get? Is there a particular person or place they could go?
Sure. So information on our website is always going to be the best port of call at the end of the day. So again, if you just go to kent.ac.uk, just literally search finance, there's a whole section there online. It is worth noticing something else that I didn't point out earlier, but there's something called the Kent Financial Support Package as well. So that will be for any UK student who is coming from a household income of below £30,000 and meets other criteria, so maybe a care leaver or someone who's state educated, that kind of thing. They can receive a stipend of up to £1,000 in each academic year of study as well that they're with us. So there's that kind of ongoing support available for students to coming from certain backgrounds.
And just earlier we were talking about accommodation. We've had a question come in. Someone said, I still haven't applied for my accommodation. When is the deadline for it?
Sure. So deadline for accommodation would be the 30th of June. So you've got a couple more weeks or just under to do that. It is worth noting that if you were to miss that deadline for whatever reason, then that's not the end of the story. You can still apply for accommodation. It's just that to get it absolutely guaranteed, we do ask that you do it by the end of June. But if there's issues with that or anything, then we'd also recommend just get in touch with the accommodation team. They'll be very, very happy to talk to you and try and figure something out.
Okay, and this will be a question that we'll continue to ask you over the next sort of half an hour or so, but what advice do you have for students ahead of studying here? What's something particular on that note of accommodation, on that discussion about scholarships and finance? What's a piece of advice you'd give?
Piece of advice I give, it would just simply be to do your research at the end of the day, to look into what kind of scholarships or extra forms of financial support are available. I mean, that Kent Financial Support Package I mentioned, not everybody will be aware of that. So it might be that you're eligible for additional funding, for example, and you may need to apply for it. You may not. It may be applied automatically, but you don't want to get to university and then suddenly realise, actually, I could have had an extra £1,000 each year if I just ticked this box or filled out this form or something like that. So again, just make sure you have a good look through our website, have a look there and see what's available. Again, similarly for things like accommodation, that's where a lot of our information will be. But if you do have any uncertainty, my other advice would be just don't be hesitant to get in touch. So we have really, really accessible teams. They love to chat to our students. They love to make everybody feel welcomed and prepared for their transition here to university as well. And if we get to kind of like the A-level results day sort of period, in late August, that's when we have a hotline available too. So students can call pretty much any time during the day, and they can chat to somebody as well and ask those questions.
It can be incredibly difficult when it is online sometimes and you're trying to tick lots of different boxes, make sure you're getting the degree selection right, but also your accommodation, the money side. So speaking to people is actually really vital as well. And hearing from people like you today, Jonathan, right. We will come back with plenty more questions to be asked, but let's take a look at some of the tours of both the Canterbury and Medway campus now.
Hi, my name is Dwesh. I'm a final year university student and I'm doing economics and management with a year in computing. I live in Tyler Court, which I love because it's very close to Central Campus. Also, living in uni accommodation is a great way of meeting new people, and it's actually where I met these two. There's a lot to do even on campus. Like when I moved in, I didn't know that I was going to find a club at uni.
Like, it really helps me out, like, socially.
Yeah. The cinema's really good as well. Sometimes I do walk.
Yeah, you love walking to city
I
center.
love walking to city centre because there's so much to like see. She doesn't like walking. Louise does not like walking.
When you are with me, we take the bus, which is like 15 minutes away.
We go out there a lot. Like we go shopping all the time. We like cafe hopping and like trying new restaurants.
You know what? 9 months ago, I wouldn't believe I'd be so close to you guys.
Yeah.
And weirdly, I'll miss the bunnies.
No. Yeah. Like I wanted to take one back. Like I wanted to take one back.
You always say that. I told you, Sharonia, you cannot do that.
Hi, my name is Linda and I'm currently studying my Master's in Development Economics and I live right here in Wolf. I'm also a Res Life Ambassador, but more about that later. I really enjoy living here, Wolf. I like my room because I get my own bathroom. The room is much bigger than I expected, and so is the kitchen. My flatmates are really friendly. We're a diverse group of students and have some great conversations here in the kitchen. This is more of our communal space where we can chill, chat, and enjoy each other's company.
There are different types of accommodation on campus. So some of the factors to consider are whether you want an ensuite or are happy to share a bathroom, whether you prefer to live in traditional halls or in houses, or whether you prefer to have a meal plan or cook for yourself. But what you don't need to worry about are utility bills, Wi-Fi, insurance, and even a gym membership, because they're all included in your rent. Also, look out for events organized by your Res Life team. It's a great way of meeting new people and really fun. Linda is one of the Res Life ambassadors.
That's right, there's a whole team of us, and we're here to make sure that you make the most of your time on campus. One of the ways to do that is to get involved in the campus community. We run a lot of events from coloring, nature walks, and we held a Res Life rodeo where we gave out free food and students got to try and ride the mechanical bull. We also hold a lot of trips off campus as well. Locally, we've been to Whitstable, Dover, where we got to see the White Cliffs, and Margate, where we saw the fantastic sandy beaches and got great fish and chips. We also organized trips to London. And if you're ever feeling homesick or need support, we're here to help. So look out for the Res Life team.
I'm really enjoying my time at Kent. Living in uni accommodation makes it easy to be a part of the community and definitely help me to settle in and feel at home. Also, I think that I would get FOMO if I lived off campus. I like to be where everything is happening, so this was definitely the right choice for me. It's a great experience. Don't miss out.
Hi, I'm Amarachi, and I'm studying digital marketing and analytics with industrial placement.
Hi, I'm DJ, and I'm studying strategic project management.
When I first came to campus, I liked how compact it was with new and old buildings and the accommodation just a short walk away. Everyone is so friendly, local students help you to discover the area, and you get to meet people from all over the world. I'm from Nigeria. Welcome Week gives you the chance to meet your classmates before your studies are in full swing. It's a great opportunity to find out about all the activities on campus, including societies and sports clubs. I'd recommend joining anyone that you're interested in. It's a great way to meet new people, make friends, have fun, and possibly even learn a new skill. I joined the gym to help me keep fit, and I also joined the Nigerian Society as well. It's a friendly group where we look out for each other and pass on helpful information as well.
There are two other unis, University of Greenwich and Canterbury Christ Church University, which adds to the buzz on campus. We all meet in the Deep End, a cafe and bar in the student hub. You can play darts, snooker, and there are regular events run by the student union and societies for all students to enjoy. A cafe has just opened there where you can get waffles and pancakes at a student-friendly price.
Also, look out for the free spa and manicure sessions.
Studying, of course, is a priority. The Drill Hall Library has all the books, journals, and online resources that you'll need. There's a place for quiet study, group study, and a cafe nearby for when you need a break. It's my favorite place to study.
I prefer mixing it up. Sometimes I stay back at my seminar room to study, or I go back to my accommodation where we have a quiet, cozy study area. We're near Chatham Dockyard and the Dockside Outlet, where there's a gym, beauty outlet, cinema, lots of shops. It's a fun place to visit, there's lots of history, and you can play games there as well. The nearest towns are Rochester and Chatham. Chatham has some good shops. I'm a fashion designer, so when I need materials, I head over to Chatham. Also, 2 minutes from the train station, there's a place that does this amazing chips and chicken that's so close to the one I get back at home. So it's definitely worth the trip. Rochester has a mix of high street names and independent shops, as well as cafes, restaurants, and cinemas. Look out for student discounts.
London is just a short, high-speed train away where there's loads of touristy things to see and do.
I love it here. Medway really is a wonderful place.
Well, thank you for that, Tony. Very helpful. Now, next, our student reporter, Jess, has gone to find out more about life as a student.
I'm on the Canterbury campus here at the University of Kent, and I'm here to talk about student life. Student life is a vital part of the university experience, and there's so much here that you can do, such as the Gulbenkian. This is where the cinema is, where you can see plays and musical performances, but also use the practice rooms to practice your own music. There's also cafes, restaurants, bars and lounges such as Woody's and K-Bar, where you can have drinks with your friends, catch up with societies. But if you prefer a chill, relaxed time, there's also lovely benches and grassy knolls that you can hang out on at any time of year. Kent has even more to offer, including an on-campus club, The Venue. But just past that is Keen's bus stop, which is just behind me, which gives you great and easy access to the city centre of Canterbury. So it's super easy to get to. You can walk, you can take the bus, and you can have easy access to the Medway campus too. But in Canterbury city centre, there is so much to do. So there's even more restaurants, bars, and things like that. But there's also local pubs, great shopping. And if you're looking for something a little bit more adventurous, you can find it in the cat cafes, the axe throwing, karaoke, all sorts, escape rooms. But what do the students think?
There's quite a few different things to do on campus. I think usually I just enjoy going to T24 socials, and so because that's my society, which features drama. So I like going to the plays and just hanging with loads of friends.
And what is your favourite thing to do in the city?
I would say there's quite a lot of different shops, so it's very nice to go shopping. I think especially, I think it's got a good choice of variety compared to a lot of different places. Like my hometown doesn't have much at all, so it's a lot better. I also just like going to different pubs and Wetherspoons. It's all very nice. So yeah.
I really like the student life here. I think that it's very cohesive, and there's a lot of people from all around, so that you can actually get to know people. So it's quite enjoyable.
I think it's quite quiet, so I think it allows me to always focus more because there's not really that many distractions.
Actually, it's pretty good. It's very calm, and I like the environment here. So it's very calm, good for studies.
There is so much more to do if you find it, and yeah, you can do it all here at Kent. So student life is truly how you make it. So why don't you try here?
Well, that was great, but if you live on campus, you can actually get a free sports membership, a good way to stay healthy and have fun. Like our student reporter, Daisy, is going to find out as she's gone to see what the facilities are like for those of you looking to stay active while studying here.
What do you think about the facilities at Kent Sport?
Yeah, I think they've got a really good range of facilities here. I mean, we're playing badminton today, we both do hockey, the gym's really great as well. For the price, it works out really well.
Yeah, for sure. Play tennis for the first time here. I've never played tennis before. It's a really kind of social way to come out and have some fun, a good way to exercise as well.
Do you think it's a good way for students starting out in September to find or make friends?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, especially in societies, you get all the socials and things like that. It's a great way to mingle, speak to people you wouldn't normally speak to. Yeah.
It's a great way to go out and kind of have fun with your flatmates. Say, do you want to go down and play some sports and stuff? It's a great way to bond as well. Like the women's only hours in the gym, that's a great way to meet new girls and make new friends because it's such a safe and kind of welcoming space. Yeah.
Do you think Kent Sport has a lot of sport options?
Yeah,
loads.
I mean, they've got kendo, fencing, like things I'd never even heard of. I mean, I didn't think I'd be playing hockey, so...
Yeah, they have pickleball here.
Yeah,
Never heard of
so
pickleball.
random.
Yeah, they love it.
It's really good.
Perfect, thank you so much.
No worries. Well, that was a great insight into the facilities here, but that's not it talking about what's going on here at the university. We're going to be talking about Kent Union now and what that means for the students. Right, so what can people get up to with Kent Union, John?
Well, what can't they get up to? All sorts of stuff. So Kent Union are basically a separate organisation that exists independently of the uni, but they are there to represent the interest of students, firstly, so they have a whole host of student support in parallel to that I discussed earlier. So that could be housing advice, it could be financial support, but also just tons and tons of social activity too. So they oversee all of our different societies and sports teams here, some of which we've already discussed, and they'll host big kind of parties and events throughout the year. So they'll do a freshers ball in the first week of term, they'll do a big kind of summer end of year blowout, that kind of stuff as well. So something for everybody. If you are into that kind of stereotypical student nightlife, going out clubbing and pubbing, that kind of stuff, there's absolutely that available. But if you're interested in something else entirely, there's something for you as well. There's things in the daytime, there's also other activities too. It's not just a one size fits all, it's a really diverse provision that they have.
And am I right in thinking there's actually a nightclub on campus?
There absolutely is, yeah. So the venue, it's about, literally 3 minutes walk from here, something like that. So there's an on-campus nightclub. It's exclusive for our students and their guests. So it's a nice kind of, student-exclusive space that they have there. But then down in Canterbury, there's a ton of other kind of nightlife opportunities as well. And on campus, much more cafes, bars, that kind of thing as well.
OK, I'm sure we can speak to some current students soon and hear what the current night out is looking like here in Canterbury. Are there opportunities to go on trips at the university and with Kent Union?
Yeah, sure. So that could be both, through Kent Union. So they've run kind of like charity trips in support of charities to certain locations I know of, and then even on your course as well. So while I was a student, I did a trip to Prague and Vienna, for example. So we went to some battlefields and the Napoleonic War museums, that kind of stuff. I did a trip to France as well, and I know people who've done many other things even further afield. A friend of mine went to New York, for example, as part of their English literature degree. So yeah, really, really good opportunities to not just be here in Canterbury, but to go further afield as well.
And how can joining a society or going to Kent Union events bring people together and I suppose create friendships? How crucial is that to building relationships here when you might be coming here and not know anyone?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, in a very obvious sense, it's a great way to just meet like-minded people. If you join the rock climbing society, everybody there is interested in rock climbing just like you are, so it's a great way to get involved with something. Also, if you've got maybe a hobby that you've always wanted to be invested in but you've never had the chance to, maybe just based on where you live or whatever it might be, university can afford you the opportunity to do a lot of those things for the first time. So go along, get stuck in. I mean, university is very much one of those things where you get out of it what you put in. So the more you invest in societies, in sports teams, in meeting people and that kind of thing, the richer an experience you'll feel like you're having. And again, a great way for you to find your community and find your people while you're here with us at Kent.
And earlier we were talking a bit about inclusivity and diversity and how crucial that is. What support is out there for those with disabilities?
Yeah, so there is a ton of support, whatever kind of disability that is. We appreciate that no individual circumstances are exactly the same as somebody else's. So every time a student comes to us with any kind of additional need, they'll get what's called an individual learning plan. So that'll be adjustments made to their course. Maybe it's that their classes will be taken in a specific place, or they get extra time in exams, or particular support from certain staff members. But even beyond that, in terms of social life too, everything is facilitated in that regard as well. Whether it's just simple things like, lift access and power-assisted doors, or whether it's, things like certain societies and certain groups and student networks that are put on for example, neurodivergent students or that kind of thing. Again, we have a duty to make everything as accessible as possible to everybody, and that's something we take really, really seriously.
Of course, it's a huge, crucial part when talking about inclusivity as well. Well, thank you very much for talking a bit more about that student life there. There's lots to do here, lots of support too, which is crucial as we've been discussing. But let's get the perspective of one of our student reporters who's been part of several societies themselves.
We are in front of the Mandela Student Center. This is the main office for Kent Union here on Canterbury campus. Students can come here to talk to members of the union. The Kent Union represents the student voice here at the University of Kent. soon we will find out about the services and opportunities that Kent Union has available for students at the University of Kent. What is your role kind of specifically, and what do you do to help with Kent Union?
So hi, my name's Tony Abiodun. I'm the Vice President Student Engagement at Kent Union. I'm an elected officer, which means that I was elected by the student body to run Kent Union, but also provide students with the best experience possible. Specifically to my role, I oversee all student groups. I also deal with employability and alumni relations, and I'm the Medway lead officer. So everything to do with Medway, you can come to me.
What are the opportunities and the services that Kent Union provides?
Kent Union is a charity, it's the student union, and we are separate to the university. So we own the Woodies, Co-op, the library cafe, venue and the nursery. We allow students to have like part-time employment in all of those different venues, and you can get those jobs through Job Shop, which is another thing that we own, which is part-time and temporary employment. We also have an advice centre, which is confidential advice given to students about a range of things from like visas to accommodation, but all of our services cater to students. So within Kent Union we have Cuttle, which is everything that I mentioned before, so the outlets that we own, and all of the money that's generated from that goes back into the student experience through like our activities team or our student voice team. So all of that money goes back to students because again we are a charity. Students can get involved in several different ways, and like being a student at Kent, you're already involved in Kent Union, you're already a member of Kent Union. So the elections, for instance, that's how I was elected. So that's one opportunity to get involved. So to lead Kent is what it's called, and that happens every March. But then, for instance, if you're dealing with the effects of the cost of living crisis, you can work in any of our outlets. There are so many different ways to get involved. You can, like, if you want to start a society, you can start a society. All you have to do is come in and talk to us. We have so many different societies, over 200 societies, and if you can't find one that you like, start your own.
Is there anything for any future students, either based in England or overseas, that you might think they might want to know about Kent Union?
We want to represent every single student, and we want to be the voice of every single student. So by that I mean we need the backing of our students, and we need our students to believe in us, but also our students to use their voices as well. So if there's something that we're doing or the university's doing or wider, use your voice and get involved. But I mean, this is some advice I give to everyone wider than Kent Union, is to just say yes. So get involved in as many things as you possibly can. A lot of the things that we offer are free as well, so like give it a go.
That's great. Thank you so much.
Well, lots of different societies then, and I'm joined by Jade now, a current student, and you're part of one of the societies here, and John was telling us earlier there's more than 200. I couldn't quite believe it. There's something for everyone.
Yeah.
What are you part of? What is it you do, and why did you join it?
So I'm part of 2 sports societies. So
Okay.
I do hockey and more traditional sports. And then I also do ultimate frisbee, which I didn't know was a sport until this September when I joined it. I went to one of the Taster Days training sessions, and joined ultimate frisbee.
What makes it ultimate?
The running, the constant running. I pulled a lot of people over from hockey to come and play it, and they're like, "Oh, ultimate frisbee," and then they try it, and they're like, "Whoa!"
See, I think that shows that you might come here and join a society or do something new that you wouldn't have thought you would do before.
Definitely, yeah. And the Welcome Week fair kind of helps with that. Yeah, all the stalls are out, and you get to meet all the societies and committees, and come across a sport you didn't know existed.
I suppose find a community of friends too. Have you got a huge group of friends from frisbee, from hockey as well?
Yeah, I mean we're a relatively small society in ultimate frisbee, so we're all quite close, and that's really nice. Definitely helps with making friends. And then hockey's a lot bigger, so the teams are close as well. So
friends
really
until
nice.
You're in a game and you've got to beat them. Yeah. Okay. So as a current student, what is life like here in Canterbury? We are talking on a beautiful, finally summer's day in June. Fingers crossed. So what's it actually like being on the campus, but also in the city too?
The campus is lovely. It's so nice. There's lots to do here. Even going into the city centre, it's a beautiful city. So even just walking through is a nice day out. But on campus,
We've got the green space. I mean, that's what everyone loves when they come here. So picnics and sitting on the green. That's the nicest.
We would have seen from some of the tours earlier in the stream just how beautiful it is here for sure. What about elsewhere in Kent? Do you venture far out from Canterbury? It's such a huge county.
Yeah.
There's so much. The Garden of England. We were talking with John earlier about that. Are there any other parts? Have you ever been to the Medway campus?
Yeah, I went to the Medway campus for the first time last week. That was beautiful. It was stunning. But we like to, so I have a lot of international student friends, so showing them the county is really fun. So I've been to Margate recently, which was nice, seaside town.
Beautiful.
That was nice.
Yeah.
Nice, quirky, cute shops there as well. And then Dover, we went to visit Dover, so hiking the cliffs of Dover is really nice as well. And then the view where you can see France on a clear day, so that was really nice.
Yeah, can't quite believe how close you are on a clear, sunny day. And what was it like to make friends here? When you first came to Kent, were you a bit daunted? Did you know anybody coming this way? Are you from near the area? Or how did that sort of start for you, that journey of making friends? Was it quick?
Yeah, so I'm from here, so I commute in, but no one I knew came here, so I had to join all the societies and the courses all myself, which is scary for the first 5 minutes, and then you meet people so quickly and you forget that you were even there alone to begin with. So yeah, really quick. Everyone's so welcoming.
And someone's asked a question here. I said earlier we have so many people. We have people from Malaysia, Morocco, Nigeria, Uganda all joining on. So some of those, you were talking about international students. Someone's asked, as a UK mature student, what's Kent like for mature students? So are there wider groups? Are there bigger friendship groups and circles that people could join if they are a mature student?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, with my course we had a few mature students. It's not a divide between any of the students. I mean, you can join every society and part of all the course. So really, it's the same opportunities as someone coming straight from school. So
I suppose
that's nice.
From your experience as well, just very quickly, what would you say is one of the biggest pieces of advice you'd give someone as a student yourself?
Well, in terms of making friends, join a society. I mean, so when you get here in Welcome Week, they have training sessions that are taster sessions. So join as many as you can and try everything out. And you'll meet loads of people just by doing that in the first week.
Try it and then you'll know.
Yeah,
well,
exactly.
Jay, thank you very much. I'm sure you've helped a lot of the students watching along now, or soon-to-be students. Right, now we're moving on. Our student reporter has actually gone into the library to give you a tour. Let's take a look.
Hello, my name's Daisy, and today we're here at Templeman Library having a look at the facilities offered to you and new students that are coming here in the new year. Today I'm joined by Samuel and Katrina. They are final year students at the University of Kent, and we're going to be asking them a few questions about their experiences here and how they find Templeman Library. Hi guys, thank you so much for joining me. The first question I wanted to ask you guys is, how often have you used the library while you've been here on campus?
I've used it fairly regularly. We get a lot of coursework and essays and things like that, so I use time in the library to do research on a lot of those things.
And Katrina?
Yeah, when I had lectures, I'd come here pretty much every day in between them, anytime I had gaps.
Perfect, thank you guys. And so, how often have you used the facilities here at the library, and can you give me any examples of things that you've done here?
Yeah, well, there's lots of different areas of the library where you can sort of go to study. There's areas in the cafe which is a bit more social, where you can sit in groups with your friends. Or there's places like the silent study, where if you're wanting to be much more focused, you can go there and get your books out and properly sit down at your own desk and focus. So yeah.
Yeah, and there's sort of computers dotted around everywhere that you can pretty much always find one free if you've left your laptop at home or need to use a computer.
Yeah, that's great. And so what books have you guys used? How relevant are books and some of the material here that you guys find for your course? Because obviously a lot of people here study very different subjects. So how have you found trying to get textbooks and things for your courses individually?
I think I'm quite lucky because I do accounting and finance, so there's pretty much any textbook that I'd need to look for on any of the reading lists for any of my modules. They're pretty much always there. There's always quite a few of them, so even if people have taken them out, there's always going to be one there. So yeah, pretty good.
I had to do a big project this year, and for that I was able to find a massive selection of books that were on the subjects that I needed, including loads of ebooks as well, which is quite useful.
Perfect. And so finally, would you recommend the library to new students? Obviously, we have new students starting here in September. What would you recommend they check out here?
I think it's definitely a good place to come, if even if it's just for like a change in environment while you're studying, because it can just help your brain sort of focus a bit more than if you're sat in your bedroom trying to do an essay or something like that. So yeah, that's what I'd say.
Yeah, I'd recommend it. I think it's a nice place to sit and do coursework, and then if you need a break, there's the cafe, you can get a coffee from there.
Perfect. Thank you so much, guys, for your time.
Well, John's joined me again now, and just to finish off this live stream, we're going to talk to you about employability, careers, what's life looking like after university when you're starting to finish up your degree and go into the wide world. What is employability like here at the university?
Yeah, it's a great question. I mean, employability really is at the heart of everything that we're trying to do here at the university. We appreciate that for most students, they're coming here with the view to graduate university and then move on into the working world, and we want to make sure that students are going forth with their best foot forward. So we have a really fantastic careers and employability service here at the university. For example, we have full-time careers advisors who you can chat to, because again, it's worth remembering that actually you don't have to come to university with a fully fleshed out career path in mind. There's nothing wrong with going to university and figuring it out while you're here, and that's a really good part of the process too. But we have the Careers and Employability Service. They can chat to you about that kind of stuff. They run networking events, jobs fairs, they do CV advice, mock interviews, all kinds of different things. But the process of building your employability, it's not something that you kind of just do once you've finished university. It's something you can be building on your whole time while you're here, and you can leave with a really good portfolio of skills and experiences to take into the job market.
And that support continues throughout studies as well, not just at the end, throughout your course, however many years you may be studying here, that careers advice continues.
And it's also worth noting that actually that advice is also available for 3 years after you graduate as well.
Okay, right, so that continues all the way through. Is there much face-to-face learning and support? Obviously, we're talking about university life post-pandemic. During the pandemic, it was very different. I did pretty much all my degree in the pandemic. That was very different. But how beneficial is that things are really starting to come back to face-to-face and almost completely?
Yeah. So we're very happy to say that, the large majority of our teaching and learning has moved back to a face-to-face kind of setup. It is still available typically online. Lectures are recorded, for example. There are things like, if we're talking about careers again, there are online drop-in sessions you can do. There's online academic advice you can get as well. So if you are someone who wants to access things from distance, that is still an option available to you. But yeah, face-to-face is a big part of what we're doing here, and it's something that we think has a massive value in and of itself. So that's why we're always going to be prioritising that.
And what's employability like for international students too?
Yeah, so depends on if you are, say, looking to stay in the UK and seek work here. That's absolutely something we would love to facilitate for you. But if you are maybe looking to take qualification and then go back to your country of origin, again, there will be help with that. So our careers advisors have, professional qualifications in this field at the end of the day, so they can speak to maybe not in quite as much depth about foreign job markets, but there is absolutely assistance with that in making that transition maybe back to your home country, giving you prospects, giving you opportunities, maybe thinking about what the steps are that you could be taking to facilitate that as well.
And very quickly, summarise it as much as you can, as quick as you can. Final advice for both international and UK students.
Again, I would just say, look into what it is that you're coming. Do your research in advance. Look into societies, not just your course, but what non-academic activities you can get stuck into as well. Because university isn't just about what you do in the classroom; it's about the whole life experience that you're getting alongside.
And where can those watching find out about deadlines for things like accommodation and
accommodation? Kent.ac.uk for the university itself, and kentunion.co.uk for the students' union.
Okay, well, Jonathan, thank you so much for answering loads of our questions. As I said, we have people from Morocco, Italy, Switzerland, Malaysia, Pakistan, Nigeria, Uganda, people from right across the world joining us and finding out what life's like here at Kent. But that's all the time we've got for this afternoon. Thank you so much for all your questions coming in, and I hope that this has helped. If you do want to find out more, as John said, you can go to www.kent.ac.uk, and there are subject sessions available after the stream as well. If you haven't booked, head back to the event ticket page, which can be found in your confirmation email. Goodbye, and we hope to see you here at Kent very soon.